What's going on YouTube? This is Dretheplug coming at you guys with another video, and in this one specifically I'm just going to explain basically before you even jump straight into using an Arduino or creating any type of circuit. I want to show you guys how to basically use a breadboard to help leverage your project, and just basically the concepts of how to use a breadboard basically. So jumping into it, this is pretty much how a breadboard looks. As you can see, it's a bunch of holes. It looks pretty confusing for someone that never really went through the whole process of actually understanding how to use one of these, right? So I'm gonna go into it and actually show you guys how to use one. So you have a smaller one and you have a bigger one. I'll pretty much show you how to use both of them. Okay, so jumping into the video, let's get it. So basically you can see right here, you have a bunch of holes and you can kind of tell that it's kind of like 5 on each row here. Same thing is on this side. In the middle it looks exactly the same, it look identical, but for some reason you don't see the minus and plus on each side like this one. So this is just a smaller one. So basically everything that's going on in here is identical to this. So this is the exact same thing to the T. Anything you do within this section you can basically do here. So basically the next question you're probably gonna ask is like, what's the difference between the side sections? So if you was to take this part off, if you were to show you real quick, let's see here. So you see how the metal piece, it just goes straight, right? So on these, the metal piece, it goes across on each row. On this one, it's just a straight line. On this one and this one, they both go across. So same thing as this one, it just goes across. And this gap right here in the middle of it, it pretty much separates each side. So let's see here. Jumping into it, basically if you want to connect anything, you'll have to do it horizontally and it'll all be on the same exact row. Okay, so jumping into this breadboard example. So I pre-coded my Arduino to basically make a light blink on and off. And I used this power source just so I could get some juice, get some power going through the Arduino. And I coded in a sense to where it's pretty much like a battery. It have a positive end and then it has a negative end, which is basically how batteries typically work. This will be my positive end, where you see it's actually pointed into port 6, and then this will be my negative end, which will be my ground. So jumping into exactly how to basically explain how to use a breadboard. So the positive end will go through this row right here. As you can see, it's a row straight through there, and as you can see, the LED, the light, is also connected to it. So that's the positive end of the light, the negative end of the light. So how electricity typically works is positive end goes out, electricity goes through all of the electronics that humans manipulate, and then after that, after we pretty much are done with what we want to do, the electricity will just go straight to the ground. So this area right here is pretty much your TV, your phone, your iron, and we manipulate electricity to do whatever we want it to do. And then after it does everything we want it to do, electricity just goes to ground. So same way right here, it'll just give you a good example of what's going on with the breadboard right now. So 5 volts pretty much come out. The numbers don't really mean anything. I'm just giving you guys some numbers just to understand how everything is gonna work. So 5 volts comes out of the Arduino. The resistor dropped that down from 5 volts because if 5 volts went straight through this light, it'll instantly burn. If I remove this, it'll instantly burn and burn out. Probably it'll light up and then it'll just completely start smoking. So this resistor pretty much stopped that, and it drops it from 5 volts and it'll bring it down to like 1.9 volts. That way it's bright and it's able to blink, but it won't necessarily burn out. So it's at a good state and it's given just enough juice. I already preset the Arduino to pretty much blink and go on and off, just to show you guys and give you guys a good demonstration. So you see how everything is on the same row. So you have to have your positive end on the same row, and then you have to have your negative end on your own separate row. So as you can see, power went in, it's going through the resistor, dropping the voltage. Then it hits the contact at a perfect amount of voltage to go through the light. Once it goes through the light, everything is good. It actually flows through without burning it. And then from the ground, it'll go to right here, this ground port. Then the circuit will just continuously go on. And there you have it. So you always have to have your positive end away from the same row as your negative end. So as you can see, positive row, negative row. So if it was possible, if I connected a wire here, moved it all the way over here, and moved my ground all the way over here, it'll still work because they're not on the same row. Let me show you real quick. So as you can see, I moved the ground all the way to the last row just to show you guys some demonstration purposes and pretty much how I will connect this last row to this one all the way over here. I could literally put one right there and then connect this one to the same exact row. And boom, see? It still works because now it's flowing still up on this row, still on this row, connects to the light, goes over to the negative end, then technically it has its own row right here. So you could just bounce this around all you want. Like as long as you have your negative row where it's going or it has its own line, you're good. If you have your own positive line, then you're good. So even if I wanted to do it on the other side, if I wanted to just put it right back, and let's say I move this one to all the way over here, and then let's say I just decided boom, same thing will work. And a breadboard, it's just a good way to really organize everything. I mean, in general, how people do things, they just connect it together and solder or glue it together, and then boom, boom, it still works. But just to show you guys how the breadboard works, so as long as you're on the same row, you'll be good. Like I said before, this line right here, it cuts off. These aren't the same, like these aren't connected at all. They do the same thing, but they aren't connected. So if you're on this row, it won't automatically connect to this row. But what you could do, let's say this is also your power, you put it over here, right? The fact that this is its own designated row, just like this row, you could literally jump it over and boom. And you can do this through any row. So basically, as long as you get you 2 rows, you can do whatever you want to do and connect it as long as it makes it a circuit. No matter how crazy it looks, as long as you have your positive row and your negative row, and you have your positive power coming in, going all the way to your ground, as long as you can get that electricity to get to that ground, everything is always gonna work. And that's for anything. A lamp, an iron, TV, your phone, anything that involves a plug. It always have 2 parts on it. One part for the power to come in, and the other is just for the electricity to go to the ground. Because at the end of the day, all the electricity wants to do is just go to the ground. We just manipulate it and have it doing everything but that. And then finally we let it go to the ground. Okay, so jumping into the side one, as you guys can see, I have a negative and positive. This don't mean that just because it's a negative right there that that's where the ground's supposed to go and this is positive and that's where the positive power is supposed to go. That's not what that means. Like basically it's just showing you like that's what you can do, and just to let you know that there are 2 different lines. If I wanted to, if I unplug both, right? Let me put my resistor over here so I don't blow nothing out. Make sure everything Gucci. Boom, and let's say put my power on the negative line, Then I put my ground on the positive line. And I reverse my light. It still works. So like how I showed in the beginning, how I peeled this part off and I showed you that it was just metal. It's just metal on each line. It's just letting you know that you have a negative line if this is what you want to do, or if you want a whole positive line, you could do that too, or vice versa. So this entire line is all connected together, and this entire line is connected all the way together. So the difference between the sides is this whole thing is connected, and this whole thing is connected. All of these ports by the whole line is connected, but these going across is just these 5 lines going across like that. And then if you want to jump it, I just showed you how to jump it with the literal one. So you can easily just jump over from whichever one, as long as you make sure the wires are connected. So as long as you're on the same row. And that's pretty much the whole overview of basically how the breadboard correlate with wiring and electricity in general. And I hope you guys enjoyed this breadboard tutorial. And that concludes this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. It really do help the channel. Definitely go check out my Instagram, Dretheplug123. And then go also check out my other YouTube channel. I'll have it linked down below. This was the channel I started a little while ago. It's basically about barbering and basically giving your own self a fresh cut and looking nice when you step out the house. So definitely check out that channel. I do all types of different haircuts. And be looking forward for the next video that drop. And I'm out.